Oh, wait. Oh, all right. Welcome in, everybody, to another post-game edition of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and of course DK in the background running the show as always. Wow, what a game! Excited here to hop on live with you guys after every game and to talk about the Baltimore Ravens' triumphant victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, 16-14. My goodness, for such a low-scoring game, Glenn, it certainly wasn't boring.
No, it was not. We saw the return of a few stars to this Ravens team, both offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And every single person that came back, the notable returnees from injury, all made huge impacts in this game, Jimbo.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to get into it, of course. We already see somebody mention that Dobbins is back, and he's back in a big way. There's so many things to talk about in this game. I mean, obviously, Huntley goes out. We see the quarterback switch. We see the quarterback switch on both sides due to concussion. Really, really physical football game. Glenn, I just got to say it off the jump. This was my favorite win of the season so far for the Baltimore Ravens. Wow. Not the prettiest, not the most efficient by any stretch of the imagination, but it was so fun to watch them do what we know that they're best at, right? They ran the football decisively, really effectively. They played really good defense. And, it was really funny. Two things are going through my mind as we won this game today. Everyone in big sports media, what's that show on Fox where is it called Speak?
Speak for Yourself?
Yeah, or where has Joy Taylor's in it?
Yeah.
And she was trashing the Ravens and saying they no longer deserve the benefit of the doubt. They haven't put together enough people around Lamar Jackson, this, that, and the other. If Lamar Jackson had played today with with a healthy team, you're telling me that his backfield healthy isn't good? You're telling me that this defense healthy isn't good? You're telling me that his tight end room healthy isn't good?
It's his offensive line?
I mean, the special teams and exactly the offensive line to me, other than Calais Campbell, they deserve a game ball because they put on an absolute show today.
Yep.
To a defensive team who doesn't even average 100 yards a game.
Especially when you consider what they did after Anthony Brown entered the game.
Right.
And
everyone knew we were going to run the ball.
Exactly. And it did not matter. And, of course, we're going to get more into this later, but how about your boy Najee Harris not even getting a 3 yards per carry?
Is that what he got? Love it, dude.
Jimbo, I'm so tired of you being right on some of these. I'm getting sick and tired of it because it's getting ridiculous. It's starting to become too many of these.
What can I say, man?
I don't like hyping you up this much, but
you don't.
Jiminy, the guy he was shut out and kind of benched.
Yeah, at the end of that game, they were playing better with what's his name, Warren?
With Warren and even Snell to some degree.
Yeah, certainly. Having Warren and his speed back there was a bit more of an issue for the Ravens. But a huge, huge win. Like you said, huge shout out to the offensive line. We're going to get into all of it. But just off the bat, that kept running through my mind that all these people saying all these things. And let me tell you what, Glenn, in a game where it's a defense first game, a field position battle, a special teams battle, and a run game heavy game, who you want more than John Harbaugh and Greg Roman? Honestly, though, in this game, I'm only talking about this game because we went 1-0 this week.
And it's this time of year where this game becomes more and more often.
Yeah, 100%.
The weather gets bad, and look, when the weather's bad, you can't throw the ball as effective as you'd want to, but you can certainly still hand the ball off to your running back.
Absolutely. And you knew Greg was going to keep that running game going through hell or high water.
Well, I'm thankful that we didn't see a classic Greg Roman outsmart himself game where he comes out and just goes completely counter to everyone's, belief in where he'll, kind of go with the attack. And he went back to his roots, 42 carries to 17 passing plays. Sean Pisker says, boys, stoked for the win. Always down to the wire with Pittsburgh, but we needed this dub. And it's so true what he said. I'm sure everybody saw the graphic they put up at the very end of the fourth quarter where now the Ravens and Steelers all time are 500. They've won the same amount of games, lost the same amount. And to this point, I think now the Ravens have outscored them all time by a grand total of 3 points. That is a true rivalry. Oftentimes, these other rivalries are put in the same conversation, even argued over the Ravens Steelers. But most of those rivalries are still heavy, one-sided, one-sided. You cannot be more equal as a rivalry than 500 and 3 points separating you in your all-time record.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Glenn, I was listening to 98 Rock this morning, who, no knock on 98 Rock, but some new people covering the Baltimore Ravens because I couldn't listen for too long. I had to switch to 105.7. But anyway, all that being said, they were talking about how, well, they were just talking about the rivalry, and I started thinking in my head, man, who hypes up the locker room? Because we got a lot of young guys. Like, who's the old dog that's getting it done, that's talking about the old rivalry that's been around here for a long time? It almost was missing some of that mystique for me just internally, right? For this is Steelers week and things like that. But the way this game turned out brought all of it back. The personal foul, the chippiness, the running, the defense, the cold weather, all of it came back.
That horrible roughing call on Metabike.
What else can a human
being
is
a football
do? What else can you do? Like, I understand in frame by frame instances, you can see, he could have done this. Right.
What could he have gone? Weightlessness? He could have immediately gone into zero gravity?
Yeah.
Like, that was the most ridiculous call I've ever seen.
He even tried to, like, slide off. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't drive in. He tried to slide up. He got off right away. Oh, that was lousy. That was a lousy call. There's so much to get into. D is still suspect in the clutch. I'll take the W, though.
Yeah, well, I think what we saw is kind of a microcosm of what we saw this defense in the winning way all season, where they give up some points, they give up some yards, teams will get some drives on them, but turning the ball over and sacking the quarterback has been something the Ravens have done all season, and this game was no different. I mean, Mitch Trubisky only had 8 incomplete passes, and 3 of those were interceptions, and all 3 were in Ravens territory. We also had the block, which I count as a turnover when Calais Campbell blocks the field goal kick. I mean, and then the sacks. I mean, we sacked them. We only sacked them, each of the quarterbacks one time, but it just felt like there was more pressure than just 2 sacks. Like, it felt like there was some pretty consistent harassment. So, but yeah, I mean, they did give up some. Look, I was nervous at the end when they go 100%. Down the field and the penalties, the defensive penalties that kept extending drives, boom, boom. And then, on that last drive, Jimbo, when they hit Warren out of the backfield and we saw Kyle Hamilton, who had been elite at tackling in open field, miss. Then we saw Roquan overcommit and miss, and they pick up that big 3rd down. I went, no, not again.
Yep.
But ultimately, the Ravens defense holds on. As it Mossy says, most impressive win of season. You can win Super Bowls with this defense, no doubt. Last Steelers touchdown, BS roughing, 100%. Great last 3rd down play to ice the game. I mean, that 3rd down call, it looked like he had been setting that up all game. We saw Duvernay consistently run across in that fake jet sweep, and then they use him as the lead blocker, pull left guard Ben Powers in front. It was genius.
Let me tell you what, Glenn, this was kid in a candy shop for Greg Roman. I was going to use a more graphic comparison, but I'm going to decide to leave this as a family show. So this is absolute joy for Greg Roman. You're telling me he's not getting excited over there, going through all his run plays, knowing that he doesn't even have to worry about the passing attack at this point. He's like, screw it. Let's just throw it out the window. Nobody give me any. And you know what, Glenn? I'm so happy about this win. Devin Duvernay got me exactly 0.00 points today. And DJ Chark, I had on the bench with 24. And I don't even care.
And they even had Justice Hill return that last kickoff.
Yeah. Odd, right?
Odd.
Because you think, okay, you can't fumble. You need the experienced guy back there. That was a weird one.
And you need your all-pro. I mean, and Duvernay wasn't hurt because we saw him on the final drive fake the jet sweep. So that was kind of curious, but not to say that Justice didn't do well. He got the ball out at the 30-yard line. So
I thought he was going to go down after that initial hit, and he gained a couple extra yards after that. So
he played well. Alex Dunford said, love this show. Been watching since day one, all the way from Wales, United Kingdom. Hell of a job, guys. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. That's insane to me that somebody in Wales is listening to us 2 goofballs from Banyan Road. That's just wild. But
if he only knew, Glenn, if he only knew.
He only knew. We used to play Kill the Carrier in the front yard that was far too small to play football in. Like, crazy. Like, you'd be like, you play football there? It's supposed to anyway.
It's like 24 feet by like 8 feet wide.
Right. You got to work on your elusiveness.
And then if you get too close to the sidewalk, somebody gets destroyed into the sidewalk.
And the van takes it. Yeah. So hey, let's get into some of these numbers. I want to start talking. Of course, we'll stop at any time for super chats. But
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley goes 8 for 12, 88 yards. He's sacked one time, and I believe on that that was on a scramble. Is it me, or is Tyler Huntley the opposite of Lamar in that Lamar can somehow avoid almost every big hit, might have one a game? Tyler Huntley seemingly takes a big hit every single time he's contacted.
Yeah, look, this is not. He might have done it in high school. Tyler did not run the ball like this in college. Like if you go back to tape, he didn't do it. He's so aggressive as a runner and then not elusive enough to make up for it. Like the dive was really cool, but you think that's a potential for him to be hurt. Obviously, he gets smashed in the face. I mean,
how many times did he come up this short just today?
Yeah,
I can count 4 times off the top of my head where he came up this short. He always had the ball like in the wrong arm.
Yeah.
But you got to love the guy's toughness to a degree. But at the same time, it's like, look, we got an undrafted rookie on the bench. We need you healthy.
Yeah. Give it a second, dude. Just like go down or, give up an inch, whatever you got to do, man. Yeah. I mean, but like you said, I think he played smart enough. I didn't like some of the designed quarterback runs because he was already running so much that it was like insult to injury, right? You were just increasing the likelihood of him getting popped. I will say this is the first time you know what? I'm not going to say it. I'm going to jinx us. I'm not even going to say what I was thinking.
Dude, you put the brakes on that sentence, bro.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not.
You pulled the e-brake on that one.
Yeah, but all I got to say is I think that Huntley was the best of the 3 quarterbacks we saw on the field while he was there, the 2 for the Steelers and then himself. And I think that's a compliment to him.
Fair.
Yeah, that's a compliment to him playing against for the majority of it, a veteran in Trubisky
and a number 2 overall pick veteran.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
This is no schlub. Sean Pisker says, I also want to say Queen had the catch of his life.
Dude.
He had, all right, let's just jump right into those 2 linebackers and just kind of spend some time raving about them. I mean, holy smokes, are those 2 guys absolutely incredible. It's amazing to me the growth we've seen from Queen in this short period of time. I don't know what you can attribute this to, like if it's all on just Roquan, if something clicked, but whatever the case is, the way Queen read the eyes of the quarterback there came off his responsibility, knowing it's almost as if they talked about it pre-snap and said, look, if he gets inside me, you're going to have a chance to jump across and make the play. And Pat Queen did it to absolute perfection. The Roquan interception, also unbelievable. High points the ball and catches it all hands. I mean, the sack by both of the guys, right? They both got a sack, if I remember correctly. Right? I know Roquan did. Oh, Pat Queen, he slipped out of his hand.
Yeah, well, he's still Pat Queen at the end of the day. But yes.
I mean, they played phenomenal. Roquan
incredible.
Almost had another interception, which I don't know how got above him, somehow to the tight end, and the tight end hung on to it. But
then Pat Queen in coverage, even late in the game, which he really struggles in.
Yep.
Historically, he did a really great job in coverage.
I mean, those 2 have been playing, just incredible. Their coverage, to know that you can stay in the nickel, which of course is going to be nowadays people's best defense against the run because it's either nickel or lower, it seems like nickel or dime or quarters. But you can stay in the nickel when you have 2 blazing fast linebackers who can prove that they can cover. And that makes you just so tough because now you can't try and slide a quick run in there because you got 2 great tackling fast linebackers and you can't just throw it over their heads because they can run with your tight end and run with your running backs out of the back. It's just, man, them and Hamilton are like, and then of course Marcus Williams. I mean, there's a lot of guys, but it's just there's so many versatile key pieces. It's impressive, man.
I tell you what, I said it before. It's a reference to Raising Hope. We unlocked it, dude. We unlocked Patrick Queen. We unlocked it. I mean, my gosh, it was so awesome to watch him just go out there, play fast, not think a ton, get the job done. I mean, obviously that interception took a lot of thinking, not to like take anything away from him, but just to play in an instinctual form was a lot of fun to see. Marcus Orr says, might be a little boring, but how about Ben Cleveland at a guard this time? The man was outstanding. I guess let's just bounce over to the offensive line. There's not like a ton of stats other than, we can talk about
that run game.
The run game, exactly. I think we had $125 at the half or something like that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it was.
We ended up with 215 on the ground.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. It was the offensive line show. And shout out to Ben Cleveland, Tristan Colon, Even Ben Powers, who swapped over to right guard. A lot of musical chairs going on here. And they were still able to really get it done. I get so excited by Ben Cleveland because you see him walk up to the line, and it's funny. You see Linderbaum here, and then you see Ben Cleveland on his right, who's got Cleveland's got this love him that he's got this huge belly, right? You just see it like hanging over his belt. And then you see Ben Cleveland set up on the line and his chest sticks out further than his stomach, which doesn't happen for too many offensive linemen. And you're like, dude, this guy's a problem. I hope he can just stay healthy because he can be a really dominant player. But I also got to give a shout out to Ronnie and to Morgan Moses, who are just playing their butts off. Not saying they had perfect games, but yeah, and Linderbaum, dude, a couple of those seal blocks that he had, I mean, we're just
Linderbaum is the only reason we got that fumble back.
Yeah, he poked it away, didn't he? He's ended up like pushing it towards I don't know,
Oliver and himself. Really, they both ended up on top of it. Have you ever seen? I tried to remember, and maybe it has, but I can't recall where a ref came out and said it was mutual possession.
Yeah,
on a fumble. I've never heard them say mutual possession, and it ended up
why they did
offensive.
that, right? Because it was Oliver, who's an unknown player, and it was TJ Watt under there. So, like, all right, we'll give you mutual
Oliver
possession.
Came up with it. Like,
yeah,
Oliver's
he had the ball.
I got the ball. Like,
yeah, like what do you?
That was odd.
Look, I tell you what, it's just another advantage of being an all-state type wrestler. Like, dude, you getting a scrum with that guy? Good luck. He's got faster hands than you. Yep. Like, it's just what it is. So, yeah, Linderbaum played excellent today. It was the offensive line show today, man, on offense. Absolute blast.
I mean, going up against that front, I'll admit it, I was nervous. I see TJ Watt. I see Hayward, Highsmith, who's got double-digit sacks already. They're a talented group, and, man, they just got pushed around. I mean, yeah, shout out Ben Cleveland. When I saw Cologne start the game, I go, man, this is really an indictment on Ben Cleveland. But then they cycle all of them in and out, and he plays well. Yeah, he did knock, I believe it was his arm that knocked the ball out of Tyler Huntley's hands on that fourth down attempt that ended up being fumbled. But really, outside of that, I mean, yeah, they played so good. And I love that the Ravens are not just stopping short of when they had Stanley and McCary playing musical chairs at left. They're doing it really in multiple places. Yeah, just go after it and put guys in positions where you think they can succeed. Yeah,
well,
man,
it's something. It's funny because something we talk about on defense and that Wink would do all the time is about having fresh legs sometimes, right? Yep. And if you don't have a dominating figure at a position, I mean, we do have dominating bookends, so we're not going to be switching in and out. But if those other positions, and even at center, but if the guards with Zeitler out, if they're not one extremely better than the other, then why not put the fresh guy in there?
No, I mean, obviously, the Ravens are big proponents of cycling guys in and out and keeping guys fresh, and that doesn't stop on the defensive side of the ball, which typically most teams will never cycle out offensive linemen. And I don't think if the Ravens had
Zeitler,
I don't think they would have either. But I think it's still innovative to not just stick with the backup 100% of the snaps. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about the manifestation of that, of them playing well. Let's talk about these running backs, Glenn. The running game in general, man.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, I was so excited to see Dobbins back, but he played so well, but I swear to you, he's still not right. That's the craziest thing about it. That run that he had in the first half.
Yeah.
Did you see the way that he was favoring his non-injured leg? I mean, he wasn't even pulling that leg all the way, like pulling it back up to his butt, like running correctly. There's no way he gets caught if he's healthy. Not a chance. Like, I don't believe that. I'd put all the money in my bank on it. Like, that's the craziest part. He played so well, and he's still not 100% there yet.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think he did look better than we saw him earlier in the season, but he still doesn't look like rookie season J.K. Dobbins. Not even close. The extension's just not there.
Okay. Well, good. That's good to hear that it's not something you thought would be.
But then that would mean that that's just something we're going to have to get used to? Is that what?
Well, no,
he'll
get it back. Okay. He'll get it back.
Okay. After the atrophy gets correct. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he goes 15 carries, 120 yards. That's 8 yards per carry with 1 touchdown and a long of 44 yards. The guy was just unbelievable. I mean, not only was he great, but Gus Edwards started to look like the old Gus Edwards. 13 carries, 66 yards. He goes 5.1 yards per carry, and then a 16 was his long. And Tyler Huntley, look, he had some tough runs. 9 carries, 31 yards, only 3 yards per carry. But what I like to see there is that a quarterback is not leading our room in yards and yards per carry. That's
much
awesome.
more sustainable, right? Like, that's what we want.
Absolutely. That's what Greg Roman wants. That's what the fan base wants. That's what everybody wants. You have the quarterback there, sprinkle it in a few times to keep the defense honest, but the primary ball carriers got to be your running backs. And today, I mean, they were the bell cow. It was absolutely a pleasure to sit back and watch them push those guys around, run through arm tackles, and make guys miss in the open field. It was awesome.
Wasn't it so fun to everyone knew on the 3rd and 2 at the end of the game that we were going to run it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Greg did just enough to make the defense think, maybe he's going to let this guy hold on to it and chuck it.
I mean, look, we threw it. The first play, Anthony Brown was in the game, backed up on his own one. He throws it from his end zone.
Can you imagine? First career snap in the NFL. It's like, okay, well, I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm a Baltimore Raven playing against Pittsburgh, and I'm on my own one.
And TJ Watt's trying to murder you.
It just snarling
with Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith. Yeah.
It's like, great. Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
no, I mean, but he had composure, man. And I'll tell you what, once again, everyone this week has been talking about the talent that's been, the Ravens have not been able to build around Lamar Jackson. Say what you want about our top end guys. Don't say a thing about our second string to 4th string guys, because we probably got the best in the league. I mean, how many teams can suffer the things that we've been able to go through? And we're still first in the AFC North. Like, how many teams just lose that game?
No, I mean,
when you're stuck, even with your backup quarterback coming in the game, what are the actual chances that teams have a backup quarterback as good as Tyler Huntley to get the job done?
100% right. The poise that he showed, and then Anthony Brown. I mean, this guy was playing at Oregon last year. Most people didn't think he had a chance in the NFL. Not only does he come into this game, but he puts together some seriously key drives. I didn't see what you just put up, DK.
That's why we win so many preseason games. He's 100% right.
There you go. That's absolutely right. And people can say what they want about beating Pittsburgh. You just beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh with primarily your 3rd string quarterback. And you did it against a Pittsburgh team who over the last 5 weeks is top 5 in the league in rushing. They've won, 3 of their last 4. And I mean, look, this team is obviously talented beyond just Lamar Jackson. If you're 100%. Winning, it's hard enough to win a road game, period. But to do it with your 3rd string quarterback is just almost unheard of. So, I mean, we got to give this coaching staff credit, got to give the depth of this roster credit. And the guys who were on the field showed incredible poise, and they made plays when they needed to the most.
Let's see what the flock says. I hate to sound like that guy, but refs were 100% one way. Marcus Peters gets offensive.
PI, offensive PI.
Either. Oh, offensive PI, no call. See, I didn't read the whole thing. Okay, so
on that.
Yeah, the push. Yeah, Huntley gets blasted, gets picked up. Really, and DPI was ridiculous. The only thing I'll say, I agree with what the flock. The only thing I'll say is I did like the negating penalties with Deontay Johnson and with Marlon Humphrey. I wish we could see more of that, because in most pass interference scenarios, it's usually both parties, right? Like, either do this offsetting penalties thing to kind of say, hey guys, like, chill with it, right? Or play on, right? But I don't think it always needs to be one culprit over another. I do agree that, they missed a call on the push off. And I think that was also Deontay Johnson, wasn't it? At the top of that break, where he pushed off real hard.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah. It was so obvious too. It wasn't even
offensive players get away with so much more than a defensive back. It's just insane.
Dude, the roughing call on Metabike was horrible.
Yeah.
That, first of all, if you're gonna call something on Humphrey there, you call holding, not PI. The hold.
Are you talking about the one in the end zone?
Yeah, the hold happened at the line of scrimmage. The ball was
wait a second. Are you talking about the Pickens scenario?
No, I'm talking about when they threw it in the end zone, they called it offsetting penalties.
Oh, okay. All right.
They called defensive PI. The ball was nowhere near in the air when he grabbed him at the line of scrimmage. And at that, when he was running with his hands like this in the end zone when the ball was well overthrown out of bounds.
Yeah.
It was silly to have, if anything, that's an offensive penalty, in my opinion, not offsetting anything.
Well, let me ask you about I don't disagree with you there. Let me ask you about the one he gets caught, with the PI in the end zone against Pickens. And I didn't see him complain too much about it, but I felt like at the point that they called the PI on Humphrey against Pickens, he was already trying to pursue the ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't any longer just in, block the ball mode, right? He had already
Yeah.
kind of turned back and he was headed towards the ball. And at that point, right, you can move through the offensive player in pursuit of the ball, as far as I understand the rule.
I thought that was two guys fighting, trying to get to the ball.
And
Like
both in pursuit of it. So at that point,
that was a horrible call. It's just so hard to be a
Mm.
cornerback in this league. And you know what? To all those people, I saw people on Twitter, some media guys included, talking about how horrible of a game this was for Marlon Humphrey. And yeah, he had some catches made on him, but everybody acted like George Pickens had this game where he's just got all the. It's like, dude, he had 3 catches, 70 yards.
Right.
No touchdowns. Yeah, he had the interference, which I thought was an arguable call. But let's not act like Marlon Humphrey had this horrible game. Deontay Johnson made a phenomenal catch. George Pickens made a phenomenal catch. They made great catches.
And how much pressure is on this defense?
Exactly. I mean, they made great catches. I'll give them credit, but let's not act like Marlon Humphrey had a horrible game.
Take him out and see what happens. We'll show you a horrible game.
Yeah, it gets bad. Jared Ramirez says Campbell's block field goal may have saved the game.
May have. It did.
You're
looking at the score, it absolutely did, right?
I mean, if nothing else, it wiped away the kind of the negative play where we fumbled on 4th and goal. It took 3 points off the board where we could have kicked it, and instead we go for it. That kind of negated that whole play. So yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, this is what this guy does. He's big. Yep. He's got long arms, and he uses it on. I love that they. A lot of times guys get a certain age, they ain't getting in there on field goal block, but he does it every game.
Yep, 100%, man.
Let's see. What the flock? What kills me the most is that refs always seem to call the second guy for the penalty. MP was blasted out of bounds, and the ref was right there. No call. Seems suspect. Did you guys see what Peters did? I saw the lineman come up, cheap shot him, but then it moved out of frame. So I didn't even see what Peters did that was penalized.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he did something.
Yeah, chances are. Yeah.
He's Marcus Peters at the end of the day. But yeah, I didn't see it either.
But they always get the second guy. It's not just the Ravens. It's everywhere.
It sucks, but you just got to know the framework in which, you're working, right?
Yeah, and I guess Sean put this up probably before I went on my spiel about Marlon. But he says any concern for Humphrey in this game or just a bad game. Again, I don't think it was a horrible game.
How many tackles did he have? Do you know?
He had 6.
I mean, I felt like he was tackling excellent today. He was playing physical, in open field scenarios.
But he gave up what? 2 or 3 catches, and then he had the penalty, which I thought was a suspect penalty. So he didn't have obviously his best game, but I mean, they were phenomenal catches. Like it's not like he was just like when we seen Peters make a couple gaffes this year in the secondary. They weren't anything like that.
Well, we saw one today where I don't know what happened there on the short route. And
where it looked like an invisible force pushed him over.
I thought maybe he thought the ball was gonna be overthrown,
and he was trying to make a play.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's like, dude, just stay between your guy and the end zone, please. Job number 1, man. So yeah, like I said, I have no concern about Humphrey. Obviously Glenn doesn't either. But take him out of the game, and you guys will see a bad game because whoever's going to be in there, they're going to expose,
Yeah, it's just not even close. And Assad Rockman says, a little late for the show, boys, but great win. Defense back to balling, and Ronnie being back made our line dominant.
Yep.
MW first. Oh, Marcus Williams first game back. Another pick. Yep. Wow.
With the cast thing on his hand too.
Didn't matter
what that thing was.
Yeah, it did not matter. It's funny. Right before that, my brother who's over watching the game with me asked me, man, how's in pregame warmups? He's like, how's he going to make an interception with his one hand clubbed up? I said, he's going to have to catch it basket style, dude. Yep. Old school. And then right after, it was soon after, of course, he makes the basket catch and picks it off. That's just what he does.
Yep.
He adds an element to our secondary that just makes them all that much better. And accompany that with the linebackers' improvement in coverage. It's a scary situation throwing the ball against this defense.
And then the other thing I want to talk about, highlight 2 other guys defensively, is Jason Pierre-Paul. Super disruptive. He's just a disruptive player. You can tell he loves playing his position. That
sets that edge perfectly, bro.
Well, he was one of those kids, right? That would walk into a ball pit or jump into a ball pit as a kid when everyone was peacefully playing and just start.
Turn it up.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Turn it up.
Going all over the place and making an absolute mess. He's perfect at it, right? He's been doing it since he was a kid, I'm sure. But I also got to give a big shout out. It's fun to watch Tyus Bowser turn the corner. He's no longer just a coverage guy. He consistently gets after the quarterback. He's good in the run game. I mean, really, there's not much of a reason to have Odafe Oweh out there at this point.
Well, and I think the same is probably why we haven't seen David Ojabo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, who are you going to take snaps from? Jason Pierre-Paul is playing out of his mind.
Yep.
Tyus Bowser, like you said, he's turning the corner. He's great in coverage. He's getting better every day as he recovers from the injury. And then, you look at where's his name?
Houston?
Houston, who is still, 9 sacks on the season, still our best pass rusher. It's like, who are you going to sit down in that group other than Odafe Oweh, which I don't think they necessarily want to do that. I think this is a good problem to have, Ojabo not being able to crack this lineup because it's just a reflection more of those above him and not necessarily that he's just not ready.
100%, man. But yeah, for sure. Cause I got nervous about Tyus Bowser early on in his career. I was like, ugh. I don't know if, he seemed to have limitations, but perfect example of, once again, say what you want about the Baltimore Ravens roster, but talk about player development. Like, look what this guy has turned himself into. And a lot of that's on him, but certainly a lot of that's on the coaching as well. So, just want to make sure we give him a big shout out.
Who's this, Broderick?
No, Broderick is another guy. I was talking about Tyus Bowser.
Oh, yeah.
But Broderick's just another guy who is a fire hydrant, but somehow gets his mitts on the ball every game.
Every game he gets a pass breakup. It's absolutely, it's impressive, man. Because he, like you said, he's not 6'9" and hulking like Calais Campbell. Right. He's not Brent Urban, who's got the arm length of a 7-footer. He's not a small guy, but it's just impressive to watch him get up there and somehow find a way to get his hands on a ball every single week. Yeah, he's been really good. Defensively, man, it was all around an impressive matchup outside of the penalties. I will say this. Couple of frustrating penalties, man. Yep. Pat Queen running up to the line, stepping over, and then hold his hands out like, what did I do? You ran over the line of scrimmage, you goof. Yeah. A couple defensive penalties have really hurt us. I think our first 4 or 5 penalties were all on the defensive side of the ball. We ended up with 5 penalties for 46 yards. So they were all defensive.
And they seem to be compounding. So or consecutive, one in the same drive, at least they were near each other, right? It seemed to be that way. I think, what you're referencing, if it wasn't the same, the next play, it was 2 plays later, where was it Bowser that got called? I think it was Bowser, or it was the other way around. But either way, in that same drive, there was two plays in which we had a neutral zone infraction, right? Where we had jumped early. So, that was a tough one for sure. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. We definitely need to clean it up. But man, I was so happy to get this win because it just, I've been frustrated by, bless you. Glenn's on a sneezing tour at this point, ladies and gentlemen. He'll about 9 deep and he'll be good. You all right there, big guy?
I'm good. You got me?
Yeah, we got you. All right. No, I was just going to say that I feel like this is just a reminder that there are a million ways to win a football game. There just are, right? And just because we don't do it like other teams do it, just because we don't have Tyreek Hill and Waddle and we're not throwing it 600 yards a game, like at the end of the day, we're getting the job done. We're first in our division and have everything out in front of us. And so sometimes I go back and forth because I want to stand what I believe in, that like everyone is beating the drum around, we don't have any wide receivers, this, that, and the other. But I firmly believe that we can still get it done this way between the defense, the rushing attack, and having the best tight end room in the NFL, in my opinion. And so today was just, it put a smile on my face because we got it done with that, plus injuries in other places that made it even more difficult.
Yeah, and in a time where if the Ravens lose this game, they go to second place in the AFC North.
Yep.
And
the Bengals are putting the pressure on, man.
Yeah, and with this win, they stay atop, and they also move and stay undefeated against the AFC North, which is extremely, extremely important. So, yeah, shout out to them. Fantastic win. Let's see. I think I just saw another super chat come in here. Let's see. Money Making Mitch says, so why draft a Jabo if you're not going to play him? Well,
This is
look,
easy.
anything happening this season was extra. They drafted him for what he's going to do next season and beyond, and maybe what he can contribute when they need him most in the playoffs. And they also probably at the time when they drafted him didn't anticipate that they'd have JPP on this team playing at the level he's playing. They probably didn't even foresee Justin Houston turning back the clock the way he has and having 9 sacks and likely going to get double digits. This is called, I mean, this is just good preparation. This is not just now thinking, it's forward thinking.
Yeah, 100%. This is easy. I mean, this was a no-brainer. If you got a guy that was a lot of people a top 15 pick, followed you at the second round, what? I don't understand passing on him, under very many circumstances, unless you just have Hall of Famers going off the edge. And at that point, we certainly didn't, right? And so, yeah, I think that was the easy pick, just based on his skill level. Whether it was this year or next year, like you said, that was an easy one. A lot of teams even had him in the top 10, right? Like he was just he's that type of guy. So
should he doesn't get hurt, no doubt. Go ahead.
100%. No, I was gonna say
before we what were you gonna say? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you want to dig into some stats? But go ahead.
Well, I just want to say congratulations, shout out to Justin Tucker. I can't believe it took this long. He's now the leading scorer in the history of the Ravens franchise as he passes Matt Stover today. He goes 3 for 3 on field goals. Also has not missed a field goal in Pittsburgh since his rookie season. I believe 27 consecutive, if I remember correctly, field goals made in that stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is notorious, right, for having like
not easy
wins and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, just ask Boswell, who went over. Of course, his was blocked, but and not only that, but Jimbo, the Ravens move their playoff odds, according to 538.com, to 98% likelihood to make the playoffs.
That's awesome. That is, I mean, what a huge momentum gaining win for the Ravens here. I got to tell you something funny, Glenn. So I got home from church a little after 1, so I had to catch up, so I take advantage where I can, commercials and stuff like that. And I literally skip the Justin Tucker field goals.
Because you just know.
It's 3 points, like on to the next. Let's move on. I mean, it just is what, but I'm so grateful to be able, I mean, he's the absolute GOAT, right? Like it's just now, hopefully I'm not going to regret saying that. Yeah, I mean, I just skip it.
Yeah, Joshua Hunter,
go ahead.
He says defense showed up playing playoff football at just the right time. Top 10 defense over the last few games, and agreed these veterans have surprised us, turned a weakness on our roster into a strength. Well said, I mean, Josh, everyone and their brother picked the edge unit as the weakest unit, other than maybe the few who did pick wide receiver. I'd say that. It's either wide receiver or edge was the consensus weak area for this team, and edge has become a strength. There's just no way to say it any other way than that. They've been absolutely phenomenal. Man, I'm blown away. Like, I did not think we would see this kind of play from Bowser this quickly returning from injury. I mean, he tore his Achilles in the last game of the season. It's not like this is one of those preseason injuries from last year. To see him running, like you said, bending the edge, pursuing guys the way he's pursuing, it's been a joy to watch. And Justin Houston, I hope that he can kind of get back in the stat column, but even not, he drew a huge holding penalty, and I think he deserved at least one other that I can remember. He's been good. I mean, the only disappointment in the group's been Owe, which is probably also the most surprising thing of it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to watch this unit, like you said, be a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I'm excited to see him moving forward. Let's see. You could have Pickens, who could be helping right now. When you have a chance at the Super Bowl, you need to go for it, not pick for the future. Well, I think an example of not picking for the future would be giving up picks for Roquan Smith and really going for it. I think that's the Ravens' definition of it. Look, this is what it is. Money making Mitch. Like, well, whether you do or not, I think this is what it is, and everybody's just got to get used to it. It's just not what the Ravens do. Like,
yeah, but they do have to do a bet. Look, we can't fault them for a lack of effort. What we can fault them for is their lack of results. They've tried to get receivers. They just have failed. But I don't want George Pickens. He doesn't. I mean, look, he's great at contested catches. There's just no doubt. but he had a huge amount of red flags. And I think if you
And he
dig
already
into
had attitude problems last week. I mean, he
if
was
you dig
already
into Pickens, the way he carries, he just doesn't fit the
he's
Ravens
a
and their
me guy.
culture. They would have never drafted him in a million years. And he just doesn't fit the culture. So, but I do agree that they got to do a better job at getting receivers.
For
I don't know
sure.
if they could try much harder because they've drafted more receivers than anyone in the league since he's taken over. They just haven't done a good job at picking the right guys, and they got to flip that around.
Yeah, 100%. But every team values positions differently, and you live with the results of what your franchise values. I mean, it just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Colts sent Andrew Luck into retirement because they didn't value an offensive line, and the dude couldn't physically handle it anymore. He just couldn't. He literally said,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Absolutely.
So,
I couldn't imagine dealing with those injuries he had. Also, I didn't say it earlier when we were talking to Raven about. Oh, hang on, Jimbo. I think I might have a sneezing session
oh
approaching.
boy.
Hold
Oh
on.
boy.
Hold
Look at
on.
the light. Look at the light. Look at the
I don't
light.
want to. I want to go away.
That's what it'll do.
No, looking in the light makes you sneeze.
No, look in the light makes my sneeze go away. And
No, it's
and you say
opposite.
elephant.
No, if somebody says bless you right before you sneeze, it stops you from sneezing. But if you
Hey,
look
bless
into the
you.
sun, it makes you sneeze. Dobbins says, I got to get back in shape. That's what it is. Otherwise, he would never got caught. Okay, so he says
So
it's
DK,
just
you think that's what it was? He's just some atrophy? Wow.
okay.
Interesting. Because I got concerned when I saw that noticeable limp. Yeah, DK saying he did too.
Oh, yeah, it was clear. The extensions wasn't there. But about the Pat Queen pick, I think we got to give him a little bit extra credit when you consider the drops he's had.
Yeah.
Balls hitting him right in the belly to go up and make that all hands catch. He says he doesn't want to hear any more jokes about his hands.
Was that him or was that John that said that?
Well, John said
Harbaugh said never talk about Pat Queen's hands again.
Oh, okay.
He made that demand in the locker room.
So he did make that demand. Okay. So yeah, it did come from Pat Queen, and rightfully so. That catch was something I don't think any one of us could have predicted.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, that was an incredible catch. My goodness.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. This was a complete team win. Next week, another division matchup, right? Is the Cleveland Browns. Is that am I correct? A team that had a tough loss today, but they do have their quarterback.
Deshaun Watson losing.
I know. I love every second of watching that guy play poorly. Even though I was rooting for them as a team to win,
right?
I still was rooting against that guy every step of the way. But yeah, let me see what he did today. So he went 26 of 42 for 276, a touchdown and a pick, and was sacked twice. Now I see Jacoby Brissett came in and threw a ball. So I'm kind of interested to see why he would have thrown one pass. I don't know what that was about, but that's going to be another division matchup, another key game. They have to win that game. Jimmy, you went over the remaining schedule for the Bengals and how tough that's going to be. So another big game coming up next week. Got to get that win. Who do you think? What's your hunch right now? I know it's way too early. Who's the quarterback next week?
Oh, it's Watson.
No, who's the quarterback for the Ravens
next
week?
Huntley.
You think
there's no way it's Lamar. I think Huntley comes back. Yeah, I think they'll be able to get Huntley through and he'll be back. A couple of things I just want to mention here. Calais Campbell said a few things I think that were interesting at the end of this game, of course, in the presser. He said that J.K. Dobbins was, quote, damn near in tears, end quote, on the sideline. Said Dobbins made it clear he wanted the ball, which was pretty awesome. And then the other thing, too.
Hold on, who was in tears?
Dobbins, because he was so, whether it was in celebration of, just being able to come back and stay healthy.
Wow.
Or passionate about wanting the football. Either way, I love seeing the passion about that guy. Yeah. But the big one here, we've been talking about special teams. I think we got to give Chris Horton some serious love. We did last week on the end of the game kickoff. Doesn't seem like a big play, but of course that field goal ended up being a 63-yarder, and they, we.
He's 5 yards closer. He's
right, exactly. And we were able to pin him back. I think it was about 4 or 5 yards, about equivalent to what that distance was. But says move Campbell to the, he called an audible on the field goal block and moved Campbell to the A gap. Said they hadn't worked on it last year. They made a change and Campbell got the block. So pretty cool there. Every phase of the game counts. Like I said, there's a million ways to win a football game. And knowing that we focus intently on every single phase of it really manifested itself today. I mean, it was just awesome to watch.
And let's see here. Tariq says close to end zone and nothing happens. Greg Roman. I'm not sure which one he's talking about.
And I'm not sure that's all Greg Roman's fault.
What
I don't know. Justin kicked what, a 30-yarder, and the other ones were 40 and longer. So
I know when the Ravens offense was backed up close to their own end zone and nothing bad happened because we got out of it.
Hmm.
Maybe
I don't know,
that's
Tariq. If you don't have to send in a super chat, but if you want to clarify that, maybe if DK
I don't know if this is a Greg Roman insult or a compliment because we were backed up in our own end zone and got out of it with a third string quarterback, undrafted rookie, and he threw it in his first play. Or is this saying that we failed to punch it in? Yeah,
because I don't think we got honestly that close today.
Oh my goodness. Here we go again.
Hey Glenn, can I just read this part? Glenn, show us the back.
I don't know how I feel about this, dude. Like
That's okay. You don't have to do it.
I really don't know what to do in this situation.
Number, if it was $100 super chat,
I'm swinging it around, Jimbo.
Oh, Glenn's.
I'm a gamer. I don't know what it's about. Everything jumps to mind's not so good for me. But yeah.
Glenn will play along.
I'll play along. But it's two ends, man. It's
Bro,
two ends.
It says it on the screen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. That was
it's pretty it's pretty clear. Oh man. I just feel like I did something wrong.
You feel dirty right now?
I do. Just a little bit. I feel like there's something I'm missing that I wanted to touch on.
You and me both. I think I'm gonna say about this.
No, I'm definitely missing something about that. But I don't know if I want that blank filled in. I think I'll just keep the mystique alive.
Ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah, let's get into we gotta announce our show winner.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet we absolutely
I'm ready to go through it. DK, you wanna? That's right. Competition results, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it.
And you know what? Shout out also before we get into our competition results. If you look at who we picked as our player of the game, our breakout player of the game, and some of our keys to the game, what's up?
I picked James Prochet.
No.
Can you go with? Go ahead. Sorry.
I picked out Demarcus Robinson. Who
and he had a solid game.
Yeah, he's by far our leading receiver. Had 5 catches for 52 yards.
Yeah, I don't even think Mark had that many catches. They only had what, like 2 or something?
Yeah, he only had 2 catches, and he was our number 2. But I do got to give you credit because you picked Roquan Smith as your breakout defensive player, and that guy had an obscene game. He had a bunch of tackles, had a sack, had an interception, had another pass breakup in coverage later in the game. So wanted to take a second and give you a little bit of credit there.
Appreciate that. Well, look, equal credit because I think Robinson was good. I kept thinking when he caught a couple of them on those those outs on the sideline, I was like,
yeah,
freaking Glenn, dude, freaking Glenn.
That's right. That's right. All right, back to this competition.
Let's do it.
And these results.
All right, DK, let's do it.
Man, DK,
all right.
He was so off on this one.
Tyler Huntley passing attempts 34.5. He attempted 12 passes, and our offense in total attempted what, 17? You said, Glenn?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not
total.
Yeah, exactly. So it obviously was under. I got that one right.
So did I.
Got that one right as well. Apparently, DK didn't.
No.
All right, let's go to the next one. All right, 1 for 1 here. Under, or excuse me, why did I read under? I'm just reading the teleprompter like Joe Biden over here. Deshaun Jackson targets 5.5.
Ron Burgundy.
He got 2. So
yeah, that was an easy under.
Yeah, that was DK. That was an easy one.
Yeah, disappointed.
Ravens tackles for loss, 4.5 tackles for loss. They got 3, which was under. Glenn got this one again. Wrong.
This was the one where it separated us. So let me check this one again. Let me check his. But
go
ahead.
Ask for a recount of the votes. Go ahead.
You're damn right.
All right, let's see. What's the last one, DK? Steelers yards per play, 4.25 was the over-under. Was the line we set it at, 6.2, so they were over. I was right about this one. Also, I just want to say that I still respect our president, even though I just talked poorly about him. Now I feel like a bad citizen. All right. 6.2 was the over. So I was right about this one.
Now I feel like a bad citizen.
I do.
Man, you know what? It all really came down to I lost that.
Did you
that
lose it? Is
tackle.
it official? Or are you gonna
I lost the tackle for loss one because if I don't lose,
let's hear your concession speech, Glenn.
all I know is if I don't lose that, then I win this game. I win this matchup.
But who won? Who ended up winning?
Jimmy ended up winning. Yes, we all said under. Jimmy did say over in that first tiebreaker, but it didn't need to go to tiebreakers since Jimmy won 4 for 4 on the over-unders. I was second at 3 for 4. DK, I believe, was dead last at 1 for 4. Ugh.
DK's trying to say something to you over here. What is he saying here?
He's typing it up vigorously right now, just a shot back. But no, I'm gonna wait for stat corrections overnight and check this again for tackles for loss. See if I did
somehow we had 2 tackles for loss that they missed, because that's what you need.
Look, I know in fantasy football, overnight stat corrections almost always come down to tackles for loss. So I know that number is quite fluid. So if I wake up tomorrow and it is 5 tackles for loss for the Ravens,
this guy?
I want an amendment to be made, and I want my win.
Oh my goodness gracious! Nice concession speech, Glenn.
That's right, kicking and screaming. That's how I leave.
Oh, that was fun. And as you guys know, DK is going to be calculating the winner of our competition, of all of you guys that are out there, the great 410 Sports Talk clan, if you will. So that's right. Week 14 show winner, James the Rascal Haskell. That's right. Gonna pat my own back on that one, but it was a good competition. It was a close one. I think Brad also got 3 out of 4, if I'm not mistaken, and DK got 2 out of 4. And Glenn, of course, got 3 out of 4 as well.
Until tomorrow, when I get 4 out of 4. Tariq says, general speaking, nothing happens when we get closer to the end zone with Greg Roman. Had we faced a better team, we would have lost. No one sees this. Well, I mean, I will say a team that typically wins the turnover battle to the degree the Ravens did have a larger margin of victory, but I'm still going to take this win and be happy with it. Now, Greg Roman has fallen. The offense has fallen short in the red zone. No doubt about it this season. But I think it's a group effort. Greg Roman deserves some blame, but others do as well for execution purposes. Greg Roman's also had years where we were the number 1 red zone scoring offense in the league. So I know that capability is at least inside him. But yeah, this year, him and the rest of the offense has fallen short in the red zone, and hopefully this is a step in the right direction because we did see some red zone success, especially with the Dobbins touchdown and things like that. So. Yeah, criticisms are fair of their red zone attack, but all we can hope is that they'll continue to get better.
Yeah, 100%. This was one of my favorite post-game shows of the season so far. It's always great to beat the Steelers. Now, Ravens are 3-0 in the division. This game, of course, remember, counts for more than just a one victory because it's a division game. It's an AFC game. I mean, there's so many things on the line when it comes down to potential tiebreakers. And that last Week 17 game against the Cincinnati Bengals, which looks like it's going to line up to, potentially all the marbles will be at play. I was trying to think of a better way to say that, but certainly all the chips will be on the table for that game.
There you go.
We'll hope, right? Like,
the marbles will be at play. Is that a saying?
Well, for all the marbles, right? Like when something is for all the marbles.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that saying before, but not all the marbles.
All the marbles will be at play because it will be for all the marbles.
I've lost me marbles. Just reminds me of Hook. Can't find me marbles.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good movie.
Rufio. That's right.
That's a great one. Yeah.
That's right. He's playing with us. Peter, you're playing with us.
The show's gone off the rails.
But shout out to this team. You play with this type of adversity. You go to your 3rd string quarterback who's an undrafted rookie. You're playing in the most heated rivalry game in NFL right now, and you're doing so on the road. They come out with a much needed road division win. I don't care what anyone says about the margin of victory, whatever. You win a road division game with your third string quarterback. That's damn impressive. And so shout out to this team. Yeah, I mean, impressive. It's all I can say is it was an impressive win.
Yeah, the last thing I want to mention, just because I think this is funny, if you guys were watching the presser as well, you probably already read this, but apparently Tyler Huntley was able to recite the months in reverse order starting from December.
All right,
and
Jimmy,
John was
ready? Go.
No, I'm not even going to try it. No, I'm not even going to try it.
Hold on, let me try
it.
December, November, September.
Wait, October, fool!
October. My own birth month. I forgot my own birth month. See?
Wait a second. Look.
Dude,
December, November, October, September, August, July, June, May, April, March, February, January. There you go.
Think you're better than me? You heard me fail first. You're like intern Brad in the competitions. You're the latest entry. You know?
Oh gosh, I definitely was not going to forget October, which was in you got 2 months down, Glenn.
I was 2-0, baby. Came out the gate hot. Yeah. J-Dub's sending me into the blue tent, man. He's sending me into the
I think that's pretty funny. Apparently Tyler, according to John, looked fine and seemed fine, but
well, that's good. That's a good sign for next week then.
That is a good sign. But also, I just want to say this: the Harbaughs are probably the most competitive coaches maybe there are in existence. So, I mean, it's sometimes got to be hard to separate the coach and the competitor.
Well, that's
right?
why they got.
Come on, Tyler. He's like, Coach, it's blueberry time.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they got those doctors, right? It's just to take that out of the hands of the wide receiver, or out of the coach and the player. But I think somebody mentioned also, Tyler Huntley did miss Mark Andrews absolutely wide open in the red zone on the left side when he dumped it down for no gain.
Yeah. Well, that's Tyler. That's the frustrating. I mean, you know what I mean? That's just what I've been telling you about. Like, you always leave a lot of meat on the bones when you got Tyler out there, right? Like, it's just, you got to expect it. Him and Lamar are polar opposites in that way, as far as stylistically, the way they play the game. And it's funny because they can excel in the same system, but in that way, they're opposite. Tyler's not a risk taker unless it's his own life when he's running the football. But I think DK's got something here he wants to queue up real quick to end the show here. Interesting tidbit on Ravens quarterback Anthony Brown. He and Steelers starting quarterback Kenny Pickett have known each other since they were 7 years old. They were rivals in Pop Warner growing up on the Jersey Shore. Well, Anthony, you can call him up and say you got the best of this one and hope that Kenny can recite the months backwards from December at this point as well. Just like, that's right. There you go.
Yep.
It's funny though. I don't know how many rivalries we had. We probably built up rivalries with other people, but we ended up being on the same team more times than not.
Oh yeah. We most of the time were we were teammates, not opposing each other.
Yeah, pick and roll, baby. That's what it was about.
That's right. You don't want to see that pick and roll coming at you. No doubt about it. But shout out to this team. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'll give a couple official shouts. Benjamin Scott, appreciate you coming out. Amber Alert, Baltimore Don C, J Dub, Brandon E. Let's see. We got Tariq. Appreciate all your support and your contributions. Critical Mass says, Critical Mass is out here. Appreciate you and your participation. Jack Gertz, what's going on? Gideon. Let's see. A funny looking yo. Appreciate Troy. What's going on? Appreciate everybody who came out. All silent observers. Thanks for watching. Another win in the Ravens' favor. How many is that? Other last, was it 6 of 7 or 5 of, what is it? They only lost one of their last, I think, 6 or 7 games. So say what you want about this team, but they're getting it. They're getting it done in the win-loss column right now. And let's hope they can keep it going next week.
Yes, sir. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you guys on Tuesday to continue to break this down and get you prepped for next week. Ka-ka!